Very interesting video today. Life before the internet. Growing up from a very young age, I can only remember playing outside a little bit before the internet came around. Right now, at this moment in time, I would be freaking out if I didn't have the internet. So yeah, let's jump into this. See what people was doing before the internet. Probably going outside and just playing. All right, we got the old telephones.
Prior to the 1990s, personal communication was pretty much still limited to phone calls and letters.
Right.
In those days, long-distance calls were expensive, and you had to plan your call in advance to avoid high fees.
Oh, wow.
People would often write letters to friends and family as a way to keep in touch, and it could take weeks or even months for a response.
God, imagine. Imagine writing, like, your crush a letter just to be aired by letter. Like, you know when you do it by phone and stuff, you know you've been aired and they're not responding. By letter, you'll be waiting months to see if they're going to respond. So then realize you don't want to talk to you.
If you needed to find out information or learn something new, the only place to go was a library, a bookstore, or your outdated set of encyclopedias.
Oh my God, I have to go outside
no Google,
to see.
No Wikipedia, and no instant access to information. You had to physically go somewhere, look through books, and hope they had the information you needed. Researching before the internet was a time-consuming task.
Oh, this sounds like an absolute nightmare. I'm not gonna lie. I don't go outside as it is. I have to go outside to like and read things. I can't even.
As books were organized by subject and author, and you had to flip through pages upon pages to find what you needed.
I'd be screwed. I actually can read. Just before anyone says you can't read in the comment section, I can read. I just prefer not to.
Records, 8-track tapes, cassettes, and finally CDs were how we built our music collections.
Oh yeah?
Going to the record store was half the fun. Then buying an album and listening to it on a stereo or tape deck was the only way to control what music we listened to.
Aye.
The radio made for some long waits to hear the song you wanted, so it was much faster to just fast forward through a tape to find it.
You know what? I can actually remember when I was a kid, I had not these, but I had like videotapes. And to rewatch a movie, you have to sit there and rewind the whole movie to then watch it again. Wow. Now that when I think about it, that's crazy that we had to do that.
TV, movies, and video games were not instantly at our fingertips either. There were no streaming services, no online gaming, and certainly no YouTube.
Sounds like a nightmare.
You had to rent a movie on VHS or watch it on TV when it aired, commercials and all. You also had to physically go to an arcade to play video games.
Jesus.
If you didn't have an expensive home gaming system.
That would be pretty fun, to be fair, though. That would actually be like, I'm saying it's a nightmare, but that's because I'm so used to the internet, right? But back then, it would actually be really cool and fun to like meet up with friends and play games at the arcade.
The selection of movies and TV was way more limited, and you had to rely on a programming schedule or a certain night of the week to watch your favorite show. If for some reason you had to miss it, taping it using a VCR was the only way to watch it later.
Right. See, I had these when I was little. But it was like,
remember when
I was like in a weird transition because I was born in the 1990s. It was a bit of a weird transition. So I was like kind of in the middle of it. I was really young. I was like 10 years old. Younger than 10 years old. I had the tapes. I can't really remember properly. But yeah, me growing up was like kind of the upgrades from the videotapes into like CDs and DVDs. So I was kind of in the middle of it all.
When you had to shop at a brick and mortar store, there was no Amazon, no online shopping, no home delivery, with the exception of pizza. You had to go to a store, physically look at a product, and pick it up off the shelf.
Right, okay.
If a store didn't have what you were looking for, you could go to another store, or wait until it was restocked. Shopping was a time-consuming task, which required the consumer to manually compare prices and products.
I always hated going shopping with my mum. I'm not gonna lie. I've got so many memories of her just like my mum just dragging me out, and when I was a kid I hated it so much. Like I'm pretty sure I would cry going out there when I was little and just be an absolute nuisance.
Before the internet, making travel plans was much different. You had to rely on physical maps and printed travel guides to plan your trip.
Oh my God.
You couldn't just type in your destination and get directions.
I'd be
You
screwed.
had to physically mark your route and plan for stops along the way.
Jesus.
Booking a trip was also a hassle, as you had to call travel agencies to make arrangements. And if you wanted to know what a location was like, you had to rely on pictures and travel brochures, or word of mouth from friends and family.
Oh my God, I didn't even think about that. Like, going on holiday, you would have to just trust what the magazine is showing you. And you know how many, like, we all understand clickbait, right? Do you know how many times people would probably have got like, oh my God, this was really good, and they go in and it's awful? I bet it happens so much. And then going to like the travel with the car as well, where you gotta read a map. I don't know how you did it. I wouldn't be able to do that. If I had to travel and go somewhere and follow a map, I'd end up in, I don't even know. I'd end up in the other side of the world, so I'd be in America. Don't know how I'd get there, but I'd be there somehow.
The idea of a game night prior to the internet meant board games,
That'd be fun.
cards, and tabletop games for entertainment.
That'd be
These
fun.
games required face-to-face interaction to play. And
Face-to-face?
sometimes it encouraged communication and teamwork,
Monopoly's
as players
so
would
good.
strategize and work together to win. There was no online games, so players had to actually be in the same room to play. This often led to fun and memorable moments that brought people closer together.
See, like, my reaction right now, you guys are probably thinking like, oh my God, like this guy, you don't find any of this fun. He's just internet only. Yeah, I love the internet, right? I've been brought up on the internet. But like, there is times before the internet was around where I'm like, you know what? You kind of miss that. Going outside. Like, when I was younger, really young, people would have to knock on, like my friends would have to knock on my door to get me to see if I'm coming out. It was no like texting to see. I didn't have a phone until I was like 13, 14. So before that age, there was no texting me. They would knock on the door. Oh, is Lewis coming out to play or whatever? Right. And that was fun. That was fun. Going around knocking on all my friends' door. He's not in. He's, you know what I mean? He's not coming out today. And then actually playing outside. That was fun growing up. So yeah, then the internet came and then my life was ruined then because it was just Call of Duty. I just played Call of Duty. Ever since I got my first console, I just played Call of Duty every single year. It was bad. I didn't go outside then. It's actually a shame, really. But
Watching
it's good in a way as well, so.
especially new releases,
I enjoyed
meant
it.
heading to the movie theater. The cinema experience was so special, with the sound and picture quality being the best you could get, and the smell of movie theater popcorn made these trips a blast for sure. It was magical to sit together in a dark room
That'd be
and
cool.
be transported to another world, if only for a couple of hours.
I bet so many, I can imagine so many people watching this video right now. A lot of you guys are probably older than me. And a lot of you guys only grew up with this. And I bet any money that a lot of you miss it. Because I would. See, I was born in the middle of it. So like, I'm kind of like 50-50. But I bet a lot of you miss it.
Cooking before the internet often meant relying on handwritten recipes, cookbooks, and word of mouth to make new dishes.
Oh, I'd poison
People
everyone.
had to experiment with ingredients and rely on their own intuition to create something new. This
Don't let
often
me
led to a
cook.
greater appreciation of food and cooking, as people took the time to learn and understand different cooking techniques and ingredients. There was also a greater sense of community, as people would share recipes and cooking tips with each other and come together for communal meals. News was completely different before the internet. People relied on nightly news, newspapers, and magazines for their daily news.
Oh my, I haven't seen a newspaper in
There was no 24-hour
years.
news cycle or instant access to news updates. People would have to walk to a newsstand or subscribe to a newspaper that could be delivered to their door. We would often have to wait until the next day to read the latest news, as there were no breaking news alerts or real-time updates.
Wow.
The news was also generally limited to a specific region or country, as international news was often reported days after the event.
Oh my God.
Remember when people relied on film cameras and Polaroid cameras to capture memories?
Wow.
Digital cameras were not widely available until the late 1990s, so this meant physically going to a store.
I don't even know what these are. I obviously know this, but what are these? What are... Auto Star Park. What?
or to buy film, and then having the pictures developed, often waiting days or even weeks to see the final results. You also had to be careful with the number of pictures you took, as film was limited, and you couldn't just delete a picture if you didn't like it.
Right.
The pictures were physical prints, and people would store them in photo albums or scrapbooks to preserve the memories.
That's cool, though.
The ways in which we communicate clearly have been drastically altered. Handwriting letters or speaking to someone face to face has been
Yeah, I don't think I've ever wrote a letter. I don't think I've ever sent anyone like a letter for like in the means of communication.
replaced by texting. Physically writing the words or using a manual typewriter meant then using correction fluid to correct any mistakes.
Oh my.
This created
What was it called? T-Pex? T-Pex. Oh my god, I had that in school. When like you would write and then you had to T-Pex. I think it's T-Pex. T-Pex, put white stuff over the ink so you could rewrite over it. Oh my god.
a greater sense of craftsmanship.
I remember that.
And it was a time when people took pride in their penmanship or the speed that they could type out a letter with few mistakes. Despite the limitations, life before the internet was full of fun and adventure.
Right.
People made the most of what they had.
See, life with the internet is fun, but it's not adventure. Do you know what I mean? Unless you go down a weird path on the internet. But like, yeah, it's like, I see, it would be good to be back before the internet, but then it wouldn't at the same time. Because I love the internet. My life is on the internet. I love to game on the internet, record on the internet, do YouTube and stuff like that. So my life is on the internet. But growing up, I feel like you need a good balance. I feel like you need to go out. It was also fun to go out and play these games with your friends outside and actually be outside. So yeah, it's kind of, you know, 50-50,
And they
man.
cherish their personal connections, especially face-to-face interactions. Knowing your neighbors and actually answering the door when someone knocked was the way things were done back then.
Yep.
I hope this journey back reminded you of the simple things in life and how technology has altered our lives completely.
See, I feel like I kind of got the best of the both worlds because I was growing up during the growth of like, during the transitioning from no internet to internet, right? So up to like when I was like 13, I can't remember the exact age, but up to like 13, it wasn't really much internet in my life. Didn't really have a phone. Knocked on people's doors, went out and played. And then after 13, you know, the internet, Call of Duty, gaming and stuff like that. So I'm kind of happy that I was in the middle of both because I got to experience both. But yeah, both have advantages and both have disadvantages. So
let me know in the comments if I missed anything, and maybe even consider supporting the channel over
that'd be
on
interesting
Patreon.
as well, actually. Yeah, if anybody's watching this video and you guys was born before the internet, let me know how it was, what you enjoyed, what you missed the most. I'll read all the comments. I'll check them all out. Be interesting to find out what you guys missed the most during the time period before the internet. But yeah, really good video. Enjoyed that a lot. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it as well. If you did, make sure to leave a thumbs up, subscribe for more content. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.